Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. The division is necessary or important or recognized at the transaction level. Once we go beyond the transaction level, the division is not really important. In fact, we need to transcend that division. Basically, to manage the world outside, we should have this. Several type of divisions that are there in the society. And not only that, we can't give up these divisions in the society. And that divisions is, like for example, young and old, rich and poor. And they're all there, and then they do their own activities, educated, uneducated. And we have to respect them as they are. It's not disrespect to say that. It's all humanistic idea to have that kind of a thing, disrespect for that. There is nothing like that in the society as far as the Indian culture is concerned. And all these things. So that is basically we transcend that, leaving that, respecting that, we try to go beyond that. That is the idea. Like for example, there is we are doing a meeting with the committee members or something like that. We don't ask the drivers to come in because they're different guys. We respect the driver as driver. And that only by calling them we respect the driver. Like that, all these divisions, they have got their own identity. In fact, they will feel happy to be respected that way. So, this is what Bhakti says, that you transcend that level. Only at the region of Bhakti or at the region of love. In love, there is no difference. Even though that I do whatever that is supposed to be done at that level. Like my driver has come and he comes and says, I don't ask him to come here, sit in satsang at minute. He'll be boring. Then what happens is that I'm giving value to the, if attend satsang only, he will be, I'm taking care of. Otherwise it is not. So that's not there actually. That's not the way. So therefore he says that once you are there, this is what the 72nd sutra says that Natu Teshu Asti, there, Teshu, Jati, Vidya, Rupa, Kula, Dhana, Kriyadi, Bheda. All these differences, they exist below, that means at the transaction level they require. But beyond that, actually, that there is no difference. As far as the transaction of love is concerned, as far as respecting a person is concerned, taking care of a person is concerned. So this difference does not exist. Actually, it happens like that within us, very natural. But there is another very important aspect is that if we consciously try to remove that, like for example, if I ask my driver to come and sit down, sit down along with us, I'm actually curtailing his freedom. I'm curtailing his freedom and I'm trying to put him into difficulties. On the other side, that if he goes along with the other drivers, etc., that is fine. So then what happens is that I have created within me the high and low value. See, in transaction we should have that, but I should not have that value within. A very subtle thing it is. Many people don't realize that. Many people think that, oh, you are discriminating. It's not a question of discrimination at all, because we are beyond that. So that's about the Vidya, about the Kula, Jati. All these things are so important because basically that, especially in this culture, we have created so many divisions in that way. It's only functional divisions. It's not really. Like, for example, we say Varna. Varna is a division we created, different shades in the society. Varna means actually shade. Varna means color. So different colors. In this beautiful garden of God, the different color flowers are there. So they are there. And then you need to put where, what color, how we have to organize. That's all something which is important. So that's how Varna is created. And Varna is based on, very clearly Krishna says, it's based on two things. One is called as the karma, and the other is the guna. Whatever guna is there, and then karma. When he says like that, that means to say, karma also has a guna. So I match the guna within me with the guna of the karma. That's how basically this varna is created. But much deeper meaning that is there. Because in a society, all the varnas are necessary. Different kind of colors and all that necessary. But what they have, the way that they have organized is that if you look at the society, it has power and Shakti. And that if you look at the power, there are four different types of power. One is the intellectual power, other is the organizational power, and third is the material power, and fourth is the labor power. So they didn't want these powers to be intermixed. Therefore, they have created verticals. Vertical means basically Kshatriya is one thing, Brahmana is nothing. There is nothing like hierarchy. It's only verticals that they have created. Now, this vertical that they have created in such a way that he will take care of himself. There is a lot of advantages with that. Advantages is that he will purely put himself on thinking and analyzing and all that. That's what is Brahmana. He will not take care of other things. There are other people who take care of other things. Similarly, Kshatriya is somebody who can organize the things. His own, and his nature itself is to organize. He is very clearly in a nature because basically Kshatriya is a Rajas guna. Organizing ability is a Rajas guna. Only unless somebody has a Rajas guna, cannot organize. I always used to see that how the children develop these gunas within themselves. In our family, that there were all these young kids were there. I would always, along with them, I play because I am elder big person, so therefore they would follow. I would give a simple idea saying that, okay, you take care of yourself, I will come after 10 minutes. I'll go out and watching them. There's somebody who is there, obviously becomes like a leader. Okay, I will take care of you till Raghu comes, so I'll take care of it. See, and everybody also say, yeah, you take care of it, you tell them. So that means he's an obviously or she is an obviously the leader. You see that always that these leaders are there. I mean, these days people say that all this leadership training and all that. Unless somebody has a leader guna within himself, he cannot do that. So that is the kind of a thing. He is a Kshatriya. Vaishya is somebody who only knows about material value. And therefore he can exactly organize the material, where to go, what to do, how it has to be done. Somewhere in some corner of the country that this material is necessary and he will produce today. And if necessary 6 months later, he will start working now itself. This is an ability and material. This is what is Vaishya. And Shudra, you give him any labor work. There is no question of complaint about it. He will do it. Oh, Papa, you should not think so much he has done. Now, once again, we have to give him some work. He doesn't mind. He just does it. It's not even a complaint. In fact, that's another thing which I say that Brahman has no complaint about any questions. He will solve it. The intellectual solution that he can find out anytime. It's not a complaint for him. It's not a stress for him. Similarly, Kshatriya, somebody dies, it's not an issue for him. Because death is so simple for him. So, okay, he died, I go further. I'll drop him and I go further fighting the war. That's what. Recently, that there was one person who worked at some important sector in the Indian Army. He was giving an interview. He said, yeah, 5 of our soldiers were killed, but then we went ahead and we found out what it is. He was saying so casually about that. And he risking his own life. See, for him to die or for killing somebody doesn't matter for Kshatriya. Similarly, Vaishya, I always say that Vaishya is somebody who does not look for profit. He only looks at the material. Profit is his nature has a profit. There is no question of doing any activity without doing profit. He is able to do that. Like the way Shudra is somebody who can do the work. And these are also connected with the guna. Brahmana is purely sattvic guna. It's only thinking, planning, scheming. There is nothing else. Whereas sattvic rajas guna is where Kshatriya. And rajas and tamas is the one which is Vaishya. And then tama guna is Shudra. So three gunas are divided that way. So like that. Now what happens is because of this combination of gunas, there's some people at the border. So they can do this work or that work, something like that, they do it. But a beautiful advantage of providing vertical is, like for a Brahmana, there's such intellectual discussions go on. It almost like looks like fighting, arguing. But then these arguing will evolve the knowledge. That's how in this society, the knowledge was so extraordinary. Because any point of time, there was always these discussions going on in the society. There were a lot of discussions evolving out wonderful these things. Because they were only Brahmins. If there was somebody else who were there, then the discussion would not have really evolved so beautifully. Because the others do not have the idea of intellectualizing. Similarly, why Kshatriya? They put this vertical so beautifully that Kshatriya married the Kshatriya family. In this culture that we have 600 various kings were there. But there were no wars at all for almost 1,600 years. We didn't have wars. Why we didn't have wars? Because how can you fight with somebody else? Next door neighbor is your relative, another king is your relative, that fellow is your relative. So Mysore king's daughter was married to somebody in Jaipur. So that means basically that there is a relationship. So this way we survived because it's a beautiful thing to see that how we can avoid that. Vaishya. The Vaishya supports always Vaishya because he knows that his business and this he values. And they're related that way. So therefore, basically, business grew in this country. In fact, there is one London School of Economics student came and wanted to find out that, economics law says that proportionate to investment is the way that growth of a business goes on. And that's what you can see in China. Trillions of dollars were invested so that the growth has taken place. But then India is competing with China. Here there was no investment. Then they came to study about that. And then they came to go to one of my friend's place, and he's also economic professor. He said very simple thing is that in India there is no investment in the business. Why? Because one chettiar produces cotton, another chettiar makes it into a mill, and third chettiar makes a cloth, fourth chettiar makes the dress out of it, and fifth chettiar will transport it to America. And there is America, there is another chettiar, he sells the thing. So investment is only chettiar, nothing else. Hey, my son is the one who takes, my uncle is the one who takes it. I only call my uncle who is sitting doing any no work, hey, you go and do that, manage the shipping company. You will do it. So naturally, they said that this is the caste system as they support for this whole business that was there. And afterwards he said, Arey, why do you come all the way from America and England to study this thing? You go to see in America itself. Motel business is all Patels. Yeah. A Patel is a janitor here, and the Patel is owner there. And that owner will become a janitor. And then here, this owner will go there as a janitor. That's all. It was so simple for them. So that's how the chain of hotels were completely managed by the Patels. And whole takeover has taken place. Why? Because it's the caste system. Because of that reason only that this Mandal Commission started to break India. Otherwise, Mandal Commission did not have any business. Caste system was not doing any harm to this country. But they created this caste system, created harm, this, that, and then break this. All this thing, and everything in the name of Ambedkar. I don't know, poor fellow Ambedkar, he never said anything. But then these people created on his name. All happened. Like this, we can see that how beautifully this is organized. This is one way of division. Another way of division that they said is by birth, that is jati, janmataha jati. Advantage is that, see, that also in this country that we have this jati system. Jati system is the parents, they are belong to a jati, and then child, because born into that. So he also will do that. He will sit with the father right from the beginning, learns the whole trick of the trade. He doesn't have to read chemistry, mathematics, all these things. He learns how to manage the gold there, or the property of silver there, or this there, or that there. So that's what is important, actually. So they wanted to attack this thing. They said child labor. There is no question of child labor at all in this country, and we never had that way abused any child. My own son is my child labor in my house. There's another thing is that if the child, your child is all who is managing that jati dharma, if it is there, then what happens is that my tricks of the trade I may not tell anybody, but my son, I'll give all those things so that he will proceed further. He will take it further. So therefore, the technology has developed in this way, such a beautiful way. Janmataha jati. Karmataha kulaha. That means to say some people are interested in karma, particular way. Hey, come on, do it. Like for example, by chance, somebody may be a musician, and then he will be very good with musical instruments. So you go and behind him, then he will tell all the treatment. You do the Gurukul, you do the whole thing, so develop it. Like this, there are so many divisions. Divisions were there, not there, there, but not hierarchy. There was never a hierarchy. What happened was when British came to the power, they wanted to create a rostrum. Rostrum means I would like to put it, so many things are there, so I would like to put them in order. So on top they said Brahmin, because educated, and then Shudra, last one. So everybody, so people started giving that, all these divisions, Kula is there, Jati is there, said, okay, we are like this, we are like this. Everybody wanted to go up to the top because Brahmin is respected. So that's why everybody wanted to go to the top. But later on, Mandal Commission came, everyone could go to the bottom. Because the reservation is there at the bottom. Brahmin is left out. But when you do anything, but ultimately that the intellectuals will be intellectuals. So this, for gunas you cannot change it. And according to the guna, karma is there. And that's why you manage it, you match it, that will be wonderful. So this is what is basically the divisions are there. The divisions are only for the sake of work outside, but not otherwise. As far as love is concerned, as far as bhavana is concerned, as far as nearness is concerned, it's all the same. So therefore, you see how beautifully that they have separated that. Marriages, this, that, are separated from your love. See, you can love somebody from because your love is something which is transcendental. Marriage has to be done within the family, within this particular thing. See, we didn't have any confusion about these things. So that's why this jati, vidya, rupa, kula, all these things are in the lower level, fine. But then, when your love is concerned, your bhavana is concerned, there is no difference. That's why Nastiteshu jati vidya kula rupa dhana kriya adibheda. What activity you do it, how much money you have it, none of these things are of the concern at all. This way, when we have it, then you can see, a lot of times what happens is, people, the way that you love them, they respect it. I mean, they enjoy it. Rather than providing that particular material comfort or division, etc., all these things do not matter to them. All that what you lovingly care for them, that's what is important. I see that in Prashanti, how many times that happens. That there are various levels that they are there, but what they actually transaction is loving way that we talk. Bhavana is very important. Once you give the bhavana, all the other things are left behind. Because they're all the way that the whole arrangement is like that. Roots are roots, stem is stem, flowers are flowers, foliage is there, and then fruits come fruits. Yatastadiyaha. That means to say, all these divisions exist. This is 73rd Sutra. So 72nd Sutra leads to the 73rd Sutra. 72nd Sutra, he says that, you see, it's a very beautiful way. He said, all these divisions do not exist in love. In prema, in bhavana, these things do not exist. Very clearly he says that. Nasti teshu, the division of jati, vidya, rupa, kula, dhana, kriyati, bheda. This bheda, nasti teshu. Teshu, that means whatever may happen, division does not exist in the case of bhava. But then the next sutra says, yatastadiyaha, that means they're all there like that. So it is not the question of we are trying to find fault with them. See, if once you say this is good, if the other thing is bad, people think, they complain about that. Is it bad? I used to have a bus in airport when I was working. If somebody has come to the airport, the airport is a place where a lot of people come around. So today the air commander came. He is very nice person. He talked to us he gave nice, suggestions because we were all growing airport. Immediately he would say, make his face, cast out face, say, am I not nice? Somebody is nice does not mean you are not nice. Immediately that other thing comes that it's bad. That's why even in Patanjali Yoga Sutras also I said, Vritti Nirodha is yoga. He never said Vritti is bad. But every author says Vritti is bad. Even in Mysore conference also, when I said Vritti is not bad, everybody was looking at me. Why do you say that Vritti is not bad? Then why do I have to do yoga?
You told us, because Vritti is there, that's Vritti
Nirodha. A pendulum goes in this way, can go in the other direction. Freedom is there. Mind goes into the world outside, therefore mind can come back. And in fact, Upanishad Vakya is there. Chanchalami mano dharma yada like the way fire burns. Mind going to the outside world is its own dharma. If mind doesn't go, how can you interact with the world outside? No, the whole of yoga field, I'm the only person talking. Chanchalami mano dharma yada. I think it's one of the mind Upanishads talk a lot. So that way, basically, that's why the immediate sutra he brings about yatastadiyaha. Yatastadiyaha, that means to say, because they are tadiyaha, that alone, see, whatever may be the they all belong to the same consciousness. Tadiyaha, tadeva. It is only belonging to that. Here, I mean, the translation is wrong here. Distinctions do not exist, he said. He did not say it does not exist. In fact, yeah. In my view, the distinction is there. They all belong to the same. That is the idea that we need to do. Now, the next sutra is very important, 74th sutra. That is Vado Navalamyaha. By Vada, you cannot achieve it. See, Vada, that means basically it is the logic argument and intellectualization. This is all about Vada. Intellect cannot reach the state of consciousness. Mother's love, no intellect cannot express about that. Between brothers, love that is there. Intellect cannot explain about that. Vada. Vada can only separate, distinct. This is right, this is okay, this is not okay. This is like this, that will like this. So you can't even say that by intellectually convince somebody that yes, so and so is there, therefore you must love. You can't tell that because intellect is at a level where it doesn't even reach the bhavana. Bhavana is much later level. And bhavana is not anybody else can convince about the bhavana. You don't have to have the support for the bhavana. Bhavana we are all born with because the bhavana belongs to the consciousness. Your emotions belong to the consciousness. Love is there within you. Only thing is that the more that you bring in the intellect, Intellect can disturb the bhavana, takes away the bhavana. The moment that you bring in the intellect, you see that it becomes very weak. Bhavana becomes very. Like, for example, you can't answer why the rose is beautiful. What's the answer you give? What's the logic that you give? It cannot stand any logic. Logic cannot reach anywhere near. So therefore, that is just Vado Navalavyaha. And this Vado Navalavyaha, it's so beautiful in Bhakti Sutra, but actually this the argument that is logic, all these things. Here also again, this translation should not be entered into. It's not a question of to be entered into. And that's not the right way of looking at it. In fact, you see, if it says that in Jnana Yoga, don't enter into this logic, Brahma Sutra says that. Brahma Sutra also gives the same thing. Naisha Tarkena Matirapaneyaha. By Tarka, you cannot reach that. Even Brahman you cannot reach by Tarka. This is what is Brahma Sutra says. Tarka Anavashat. That's another sutra that somewhere else it is said. So that means everywhere that Tarka has been condemned by that. Even Patanjali Yoga Sutras also I forgot somewhere. But there also it is said that, Tarka cannot really reach that. Logic cannot. Yeah. So therefore, everywhere says, but particularly in Bhakti Yoga, when it says that Vado Navalavyaha, it is not the question of, you see, you should not do it. That's not the idea. The idea is that Tarka cannot reach there. It's not a question of you do or you do not do it, because basically you cannot say that you cannot do the Tarka, because the moment that you reach to the Bhakti level, Prema level, I itself is dissolved. The Tarki is not there. You have to do the Tarka means that I should be there. The very fact is that we are dissolving this I, whatever form of I. Small little simple things we dissolve this I. Where is the question of in Tarka at that level? That does not come. Like for example, the dad is fighting with the child and child sits on the dad and I bet you, I am stronger than you. He said, okay. He sits next, she stands in the chair next to you and says that I'm taller than you. And you are not going to argue with it. I mean, of course, there are some parents who argue, but then we do not argue. So that means say, even that small little simple things that we don't know the Tarka. How I can see that in simple families that in Los Angeles, a friend of mine, I get up in the morning and then he will make coffee for me, for him, and then we'll have chit chat. He was also interested in Vedanta. We do all that. Then his wife wakes up and then she says, I'll make coffee for both of you. He says, Raghuram, now you get the real coffee. And he would say himself, he doesn't argue that, oh, I made better coffee for him, I gave good coffee. He doesn't argue. I don't know any husband will argue with that idea, quality. But that's wonderful. It's okay. Tarka doesn't occur even in small little simple things. How can you establish the bhakti in the name of Tarka? So, Tarka will not reach there. That's what is the idea. And Tarka will not reach, but it does not mean that you deny the Tarka. See, what happens is, Tarka, there is one important thing is, the more and more that you establish the Tarka with anything, Tarka is like the way somebody says it's like a prostitute. That means to say whoever comes in goes behind it. It's like a lawyer. Tarka is like a lawyer. If you say that you support me, the lawyer, he will support. You support that opposition party, yes. In fact, that's why they say that go to find that lawyer immediately, because otherwise your enemy will go to that lawyer. So you can argue this way, you can argue that way. Argument can be either way. Look, now I'm 18 years, I got the license, driving license, so I must get a vehicle. And then dad shouts at the son, like, look, walk. Is it not a short distance? God has given you 2 legs to walk. What if God has given legs for you? The son also replaces 1 leg for accelerator, 1 leg for brake. So now you vary argument. Argument can be like that. Argument can never end. That's what he says, that Bahulya Avakashaha Anayantritvat, that it can never stop. Anayati.
Tarka causes division.
Tarka or division. Tarka causes division. Tarka does not. It's only the case of, that's a very, somewhere it was said, there is one sutra which says beautifully, that is, Suviramyata, that means to say Tarka, which unites together, that's what is the idea. Suviramyata. And that is the kind of Tarka which says that useful, Vada which brings together. That's what Shankara's Mandana Mishra Samvada, it's not Vivada. Samvada. What is the Samvada? Bring them together. So, Tarka is supposed to establish intellectual accuracy, but then Tarka divides us. That's it. Because a person who is defeated in Tarka will never accept that he is defeated. He says, I think tomorrow I'll come with more argument, then I will more logic. Or the other person will say to the, that fellow is too logical, I mean, too argumentative. That's why I just gave it up. Otherwise, I am right.
That's Supreme Court decision, they're not debating.
Right. That's it. And actually it is like that. Tarka cannot take, because every step that you take is into the unknown. Intellectual activity will not take. Like for example, when you are standing in the two roads at the junction, which road to take? Now, what is the argument? Oh, this road is right, this road is right. See, which road? You don't even know anything. So Tarka is like that. It's a guesswork, actually. So Tarka will not lead you anything. That's why he says that. Whereas in the case of Shankara's Mandana Mishra, there are few places which is called as Samvada. That's why Bhagavad Gita is Krishna Arjuna Samvade. And the same thing about this thing. What is that? Uddhava Samvada. So Shankara Mandana Mishra. See, Samvada is like that.
It's different in Tarka.
Vada and Tarka is the same thing. Samvada. It's a Tarka only, but it brings together. See, that's why I said, why it is called as Samvada is that when Shankara wins that Samvada, Mandana Mishra becomes his disciple. Mandana Mishra, Bharati becomes his disciple. They come together, they are not separated. It's supposed to be normal Vada that we think of it. It separates because it gives on, going on, multiplying argument after argument and all that, it separates. So that's why it is like a logics of a liar. I cannot this way or that way also. They can go on arguing. But there is another important thing here. If you look at the logic of a liar also, that if you think of it, he has an idea behind it. Then he uses this logic. So what he is trying to say, the logic that we are using is only the prakriya, but idea is something which is important, which is transcendental. When you say bhakti or bhava is anyway transcendental to logic. So why are we holding on to the logic? So that's the idea. If you are holding on to the logic, then what is happening? What happens even if you win in the logic? It's not that you have won it, the logic has won it. Intellect has won it. And intellect always wants to prove that he is greater than anything else. Because intellect can become very ego, ahankara. Of all the egos, the greatest of ego is the intellect. And that's what we are actually nurturing that. Even the greatest of the people, it is the bhavana that's important than the logic. In fact, I don't know how much it is true, but I heard that when Schrodinger has given the black cat experiment, it has actually violated Einstein's theory. Einstein and he presented answer and said, yeah, this is right. It's good, it's correct. But then he said, don't publish it before I die. Because I don't want to be defeated in my argument. That means your connection with the subject is also an emotional connection rather than the intellectual connection. And now you can see that intellectually you defeat anybody by logic. You mean to say they can convince him? You can't convince him. Unless at least really a great sadhaka, you can't convince him. Otherwise, he will say that I'm right. He will hold on to them. And in fact, he will find animosity with you because that you have defeated him. Only one person, somebody's cell phone. Oh.
You're okay, right? You both are okay.
So only one person I have come across. He is wonderful that way. It's very nice. That's our you know this Arvindo Ashram, Delhi.
Ramesh Vijayanath.
Ramesh Vijayanath. See, he was an All India Institute of Medical Sciences director,
Yeah.
big man. He was also director of Arvindo Ashram Society. It's supposed to be a huge society. That's a big. I mean, they're all the top people come there. And then he is the director, he's a secretary for that. He organized a program. And his program organized was 3 days of seeing some top intellectuals. They gave presentation, in Arabindo Society, everybody's intellectuals.
Yeah.
And then they presented, and he himself presented a talk. And I heard that talk, I was there. And then I knew that what he presented is not right, it's wrong. But then how to tell him? But then I said, no, this particular group, 200 people were there. I must give the idea. So when my talk came, I said, some people have a view like this, but this is my view that I said about something. The honesty of that Ramesh Vijayanath is, immediately after my talk, he came to propose vote of thanks. He said, I stand corrected. Raghuram said is right. Started yes, in front of everybody. You said yesterday. You said like that. I think I stand corrected. I get to stand corrected. What Raghuram said appeals to me. It's right. His stature has gone up like that. So that's why this is where basically that you are using the intellect fine to explain, but you can always ready to change your intellect, your argument, your logic. That's what is the idea. So that greatness comes far above the level of intellect. Then only you can change it and accept it. So that's why Bahulya Avakashvat Aniyatatvat. When you only holding on to the intellect, there is hundreds of arguments it can develop. It can go on increasing. Like today, what happened? See, like for example, people say that what is the creation? Creation by electrons, and electrons further divided into this thing, that thing. Now they come to the idea of, oh, there is a God particle. But God particle, where is it coming from? So what is that behind it? See, never ending. This inquiry never ending. In fact, right from the time when first they have understood about the matter, that periodical table and all that. At that time, they said that science has come to a threshold. But science has never come to a threshold. Even today, never came to a threshold. So it goes on increasing. It can just go on increasing. But we are not against it. Science can progress anything. But we say that your bhavana is something which is far beyond that. It is not measured by the logic. That's why vado navalampyaha, that means to say, avalambana vada, you don't have to depend on. Vada avalambana, that means to say, establish God, or establish that the bhavana aspect of it, love aspect of it, or the beauty aspect of it, it is not based on vada. See, it doesn't take the support of vada. Avalambana of the vada, it doesn't take. You see now, avalambana is dependency. So dependency of the logic, it doesn't take. Intellectuals, we went to Kanyakumari, and they were all discussing very seriously about Brahman, about Atman, this and then we came to Kanyakumari, look at the beautiful sunset going on. And then nice, wonderful, clear sunset there. What is the beauty about it? Brown sun, every day the same sun goes down. Yeah, then where is the logic? Beauty, you have to catch it. You can't catch it, beauty, by logic. So that's why Vada Alambana, you cannot take it. That's why it is, the fact Brahman itself is, there is, like in some case, Upanishad says that Niralambana. This is Shiva Sutras talk about it. Shiva Sutras, while describing about Brahman, it says that Niralambana, Shiva. That means Alambana not being there. This is what is the bhakti or love is Alambana is not there. So now, as a result of that, Bado Navlambhya, Bahuryavakasha, Aniyatatvat, there is no question of any restrictions on that, it just goes on increasing. Then he says, what is that now we need to depend on? What is that which we can really engage ourselves with is Bhakti Shastrani Mananiyani Taduddeshika Karman Karaniyani. Bhakti Shastras that are there, that means to say, any Shastra which is giving us the idea of Bhakti, Prema aspect of it, that is what is Mananiyani. That means we have to remember, ruminate on that. It's this manana is something which is very important idea. See, these are the two things that are there. Manana, first of all, it is Chintana. Chintana is first of all that you know about it. Whatever that you Chintana, that you do the manana of it. Manana will have to take you to the bhavana. That's what is Bhakti. But whereas manana, chintana to manana, and manana to bhavana. This is what dharana, dhyana, samadhi, like that. Chintana to manana, manana to bhavana. This what is the progress. That's wonderful thing. Whereas when you say that chintana to manana, manana afterwards, when you say that it is instead of bhavana, it is tarka. Your manana is trying to see that you develop more and more logic, tarka, then it is going in the opposite direction. Manana is that which will lead you to bhakti. So that is the kind of activity that we need to do. Bhavana is that it will lead you. That's what is Bhakti Shastra. Let me give you a very simple idea that you are looking at some aspect where that aspect of love is there, like in Ramayana, the aspect of Sita, Rama, and then whether Lakshmana says to Sita that don't cross the line, Lakshman Rekha. But then Ravana comes and she crosses the Lakshman Rekha. Immediately people start arguing. Original Ramayana doesn't have Lakshman Rekha. Don't argue about all those things. Maybe it may not be there. It is interpreted in a different way. All right, interpreted this way that the idea, the purpose behind it is that Lakshman Rekha means basically you cross the boundary, and then you go in the wrong direction. He told even Sita that you cross the boundary, and that boundary you cross for the good reason. You are trying to do some help to some Brahmana who came and then give them. But then don't cross the boundary. Don't come out of your place. That's what he said. So there may be reason why he said that, but then they argue that he say Lakshman Rekha is not there. That's not the way that it is. So Bhakti Shastrani Mananiyani. That means manana is something we ruminate, we live in that state. We try to feel about that. Mananiyani. Huh?
Manana is not opposite of that.
Manana is not opposite. Manana is opposite to that. Manana will lead you to tarka. If you're not careful. Manana, if you're not careful, it can lead you to tarka. Manana can lead you to tarka. Whereas
introspection.
Manana is that ruminating on that.
Ruminating.
Ruminating on that. The story of Sita and Ravan and Lakshmana. If you are ruminating on that, if you are careful, if you are not careful, it will take you more arguments. How can Ravana do this? How can Sita not go by Ravana?
It is not.
Yeah, and yeah, how can Sita be so stupid? In spite of the fact Lakshmana said, don't cross it. Does he not? Does she? Why did she cross? People have argued with me, all these things. So therefore, that means a manana can lead you to so much of tarka. Tarka is only to defeat you. That's all.
So when people argue with you, what do you do?
That's why you say, okay, leave it alone. What is more important thing is, it happened. Whatever may be the thing, it happened. Now feel what a loss that has happened for Sita. 1 full year, whole struggle was there. What happened? You take it. Come to the reality. Don't argue.
When you argue, you are not feeling the story.
Yeah.
Characters painting.
In fact, you see, that's what in the 17th Sutra I've written that. You see, when Jesus was being put on the cross and he was crying the cross, so heavy and it was so burdensome. And he was bleeding, he was thirsty, and all that was there. And his disciples were saying that, oh, he is Son of God, he is not suffering, he's only showing that he is suffering. How can he suffer? Because he is Son of God. He's only, you know, the only person who understood was Magdalene. She comes running, crying, and goes to Jesus, hugs him, brings him down, keeps him in her lap. They were looking at some miracle will happen, Jesus will just come out of it, fly with the wings and all that. You know, they have the pictures also. Jesus flying with the wings and all that. So that will happen. He said, forget about it, look at human being. The humanness goes away when you go into that dark aspect of it. The human aspect will be lost. So that's what. So Bhakti Shastrani Mananiyani. There's another word. Another word is that I'm trying to find out. Chintana, Manana.
Is it that?
Not in the Bhakti, not in the Yoga Sutras, but I used to say a long time ago. But Chintana, Manana should lead to Bhavana is Bhakti. Chintana, Manana will lead you to Tarka is going down. But Tarka, I'm just using it now, but there is another similar word that was there, very good. Taduddeshaka karmani karaniyani. Now, any activity that you do it should be able to generate within you that bhavana aspect of it. Taduddeshita. Uddesha should be bhavana related. Uddesha is only the bhavana created, bhavana enforced, that kind of a thing. Karmani karma. That's what is the kind of activity that you do it. So that what happens is that, see, this is a different thing in the case of Bhakti Yoga. Other yogas that you sit quiet, you brighten, go to Samadhi, etc., different thing. Whereas in Bhakti, it is Bhava Samadhi. Bhava Samadhi is basically, you are trying to see that Bhava in everything that you do it. Don't bring in the ego, but then only cultivate that Bhava behind that. To do that.
What is the meaning of Chintana? It's thinking, right?
Chintana is thinking.
What is Manana?
Chintana is basically, first thing is that when you, first of all, get an activity is what is called as Chintana. Like for example, a simple idea that is there or the story that is there, it is Chintana. Then Manana. Manana is ruminating on that. Yeah, Chintana is the first one, where the logic that you hear, the logic and this and that, what you hear is a Chintana. That's what's then leads to Manana. Manana only actually concretizes the idea within you.
That manana will not mature it's half baked.
Yes.
Automatically it will lead to tarka. When it is not matured enough,
It leads to
Tarka.
tarka. Yeah, right.
but when it matures,
And
it leads to that.
when manana is not mature in the sense that you don't find the satisfaction, or manana does not point you towards that satisfaction, then it becomes because you are complained about that. So therefore, then it comes to tarka. So
I always thought ruminating is bad.
ruminating, we do it. Ruminating is the way that we take any. In fact, that's what you said is right. Many times we ruminate on negative things.
Yeah. That's why I was always thinking, overthinking.
Yeah, ruminating.
Goes into a.
Yes.
But if this is the right direction. it's-
Direction will take you. In fact, bhavana develops only because of ruminating.
Oh,
Yeah,
good. Oh.
bhavana develops because of ruminating.
Wow.
Like that's what I say that in the bhakti sadhana, a nice, wonderful music that you hear, which has got a abundance of that feeling of love. Now, what happens is that you are thinking of that, you are ruminating it for days together, and that doesn't leave you. That I hear the whole idea of say a song, beautiful song of Rama, something like that. And then it's like this for the next 3, 4, 5 days, 15 days, it will not leave. I'm just thinking that idea. Like, for example, that one of the functions that we had, they know that song is that Kannada, ಇನ್ನಷ್ಟು ಏನ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗತ್ತಲ್ಲಿ, that was such a lovely song. Next 1 week ಅದು ಹಂಗೆ ನಡೀತಾರೆ.
That is ruminating.
Ruminating, that's what is happening.
No, whatever we see, which has an impact on us, maybe we ruminate.
Ruminating. If it is the right way, good way, then it increases your bhavana. But not negative thing you ruminate. Somebody said something, I ruminate for days together. That fellow will bad, and that that it has effect on all other things. He dresses bad, he looks bad, his wife is bad, his dog is bad. Everything becomes bad. One thing is bad, everything is. So that's how it is. The bad is everything. It is somehow is ruminating.
He wants attention.
He wants attention. So now what happens is that when you're in the state of that, basically, when you're in the bhavana state, automatically these things will drop off. Ahimsa, I mean, these things will naturally follow you. That's what is ahimsa, satya, shaucha, daya, astikata, charitrani, paripala, nijani. These characters will naturally be with you. When you're in that bhavana, you can't feel like hurting anything. I tell you, see, ahimsa not being there. Even the small little simple things, himsa, you cannot even tear a paper because you are compassionate towards the paper. It naturally comes about in that state of love. Like, that child is holding onto the bakri and the goat and said, please don't kill it. I don't like, little child says, I don't like chicken. I like only vegetarian. I don't like. Why don't you like chicken? The child is crying. He says, if you want to take a chicken, that you have to kill a chicken. And the chicken doesn't want to be killed. Simple answer. Yeah, chicken. Same way. I don't want to be killed. Same way. Chicken doesn't want to be killed. So I don't want to eat chicken. Oh wow. See, ahimsa so naturally comes. Satya naturally comes about. Because basically, himsa, asatya, these things are agenda based. Now when you rise that level, you have no more agenda left with. So therefore, ahimsa, satya, shaucha, daya, astikata. Astikata is, you see, this astika, nastika is God is not there. Astika is God is there. This is what is the normal translation, but that's not the idea. Nastika means I have to do everything. I is God. Astika means that hey, somebody is taking care of it. I don't have to do anything. So that's what is the difference. And that somebody who is doing it, that somebody, the very fact that we say somebody is doing it, itself gives such a feeling that wow, he must be really great. See, and like you see, the very simple thing, who organized that sun to be so far away from the earth and moon to be around earth and this and that? Somebody has done it, my God. That somebody becomes ordinary, a God feeling. That's why God is not an individual. God is a feeling that you have. That feeling, when you have it, it is astika. If you looked at that astikata that way, then there is no question of any Dvaita, Advaita, Visishtadvaita, fight and wow, my God, I don't know what are all the things people get. The other day also, I was in Mysore telling somebody, people are just fighting for no reason. And philosophies are created, books are written. You know, there is a book called as Advaita Khandana. And then somebody else has written Advaita Khandana Khandana. Dvaita Khandana is one thing, and then Advaita Khandana is another. Advaita Khandana Mandana, I mean Khandana. Then Advaita Khandana Mandana. See, I don't know how people create it. I said, look, very simple thing. Life does not have all those things, complications. So, ahimsa, santyasho, daya, astikata,
Somebody asked
charitra.
me whether you teach Dvaita philosophy.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know.
Yeah, we go beyond all these things. Dvaita, Advaita, Vishishtadvaita, beyond that. And when they say beyond that, somebody gave some days. I heard that it is Shakti Vishiddhadvaita. See, all these three things, beyond that is Shakti Vishiddhadvaita. My God, Shakti Vishishtadvaita. My God, it's like this. It is, it is like that somebody has written on the wall. Plain wall. Said, whoever writes on this wall is a fool. Another fellow writes below that, but you are a fool. Third fellow writes, both of you are fools. So, it is like that. All these philosophies are like that. Whoever writes on this wall is a fool. But what about you? You are a fool. Third fellow, both of you are fools. Paripalani. See, he says that these qualities, whatever we call it as, in Yoga Sutras, these qualities are supposed to be yama niyama. Whereas here it says paripalaniya. That means to say, they're already there within you. And the moment that you touch this bhavana, they come out, they flower. You nurture them. Paripalaniyani. You nurture these qualities that is there. It doesn't say that you have to do it. Because the simple thing is that in bhakti, absolutely there is no doer. The doer is dissolved. The doer is dissolved. The doing, you are not doing it all. They are there. Just look at that. Why do you hurt somebody? Ahimsa is naturally there. And do himsa, that then there is a require some agenda. So that's why these things are there, which are paripalaniya. That means you nurture them. So our doing the puja or doing all these things, anything that we do, is nurturing these qualities that are there. That's there with it. We'll stop it here. I think last sutra 79 to 84.
We do this, no? Sukadukhe. Previous.
Which one?
Sukadukhe.
77.
Oh, 77. Okay, I'll take up. Oh, Sukadike Chalabadike Kale Pratikshamani.
Next class we will do, okay?
Yatastadiyaha Vado Navlabhya Bolyavakasha Aniyatatvat Bhakti Shastrani Manayani Tatudesh Karmani Karmi Sukadukka Ichha Labhat Ityakte Kale Pratikshamani Kshanarthamapi Vyartham Nameya. That we'll take up next time. So we'll finish one more class, we'll finish it. Like that.
One more class, that's all.
That's all. Because, oh, maybe two more classes. Because there's one day. The last one.
So before Uttarayan we finish.
Yes. Before Uttarayan. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Anyone has any doubts? Anyone wants to share, ask in the online group people? Okay, yes, Rupaji, please unmute yourself and ask.
Yes.
We are not able to hear you.
Yeah. Namaste, sir. So ruminating means manana or what, sir?